Hey, this is Coach Charlene, and welcome to the Whispers of Wellness. So, I wanted to dig into a topic that really hasn't been talked about. This particular topic came out of an experience for me once I early retired. Now, I had no idea what was happening, but I am a reflective person and I love paying attention to what's going on with me. And so this particular video is going to talk about the soul keeping score. I don't know any of you out there if you have read The Body Keeps the Score, but my experience, this transition from being over 32 years of nursing, that transition period to early retire was very, very informative, painful, and amazing all at the same time. So I thought I would do a video about this. But have you ever felt tired, but not physically necessarily? You know, the kind of weariness that lives deep inside, but you can't quite name it. You can't quite put a little pin right there. You feel restless. You feel like there's something going on and you just don't know what that is. And I actually was experiencing that probably for at least 6 years before I actually early retired. Now, let's talk about what I'm calling it. Now, I don't even know if there's a definition out there, but it's called soul pain. So let me tell you how I came upon this first, and then I will move into just a little bit of teaching about it, just from experience. So many people know, the ones that know me, that where I worked, I had began to start talking about, I'm going to retire. You know, I had start feeling a little bit irritated, frustrated, you know, not necessarily with the job itself. The job was amazing. I learned a lot. I grew a lot. There were so many amazing, wonderful things that I can say about my organization. I mean, it was where I found my voice. It was where I was able to add value and to contribute for the higher good. But still, there was still something on the inside of me, just a little restless and a little irritated, a little frustrated. And, you know, I just couldn't put my finger on it. And so I went on what I call a little sabbatical. I decided, because one thing that I did not do a good job of is taking vacations, taking times to pause. And even though I knew that that's what I needed to do, but the work just seemed to keep coming. And every time that I would be off, and then when I come back, it's like triple to do. So a lot of times I would just prevent from doing it, or I would go on vacation and actually take some of the work with me, which we know is a no-no. And I knew that as a Caritas coach, as a heart math trainer, as a healing facilitator, as a transformational agent, that is not what you do. But yet I still was doing that. And so here we go. We're approaching 2024 at the time. And I decided to take 30 days off to pause. And it was absolutely an amazing thing that I did, because me slowing down, stopping, was my confirmation that it was time for me to early retire. Now, I had been saying it for many years. What was the difference than me saying, oh my gosh, I'm getting ready to retire like 6 years ago, and then me actually taking action and doing it? You know, what was the difference? I took the time off. I had such an inner knowing within myself that if I did not early retire, then my well-being was going to be at stake. Not that it was anything wrong with the organization. So what I found out, though, this was post-retirement, because while I was going to work, I was writing my book, I was creating content, I was doing my podcast, I was doing all the things that really brought me joy. Because in 2022, I started When the Moment Chooses You, the podcast where I interview trailblazers and change agents that dared to dream, that dared to disrupt their system and themselves, and to do something different. So I had found meaning with doing that. But still, you know, that little nagging voice that stays on the inside of you until you say something. The little whisper of the heart is what I call it. And so what I decided, I put a date on it, because nothing happens until you put a date. We know about goal setting And a goal really isn't a goal unless you put a deadline on it, because our brain loves deadlines. And so I finally said, okay, June, I think I said like 7, 2024 or something like that. And so I actually retired on July 7th, 2024, but I at least put a date. It only extended for a month because I was going to bring contribution to my organization by teaching something. And so, but my mind was made up. January, I came in with a whole different narrative, a whole different mindset. My mindset at that time was like, okay, wow, finally, I'm making the decision. I made the decision. Now let me align what I need to align, train who I need to train so that I can move out and expand and do the things that's in my heart to do. I don't know about you, but there are times where my heart is talking to me. My spirit is trying to tell me something. See, that's where the restlessness came from. And that's why it's important for you to pay attention to what's happening within you. You know, we are a 3-part being. We're body, spirit, soul. So, you know, we have to pay attention to that. So my soul was trying to get my attention probably 6 years ago, but I was not at the point where I was even comfortable enough to say, okay, I'm going to retire. Although I could have. So see, I could have retired if I wanted to 6 years ago, but I decided to stay in. And what really helped me to stay longer is me being able to contribute, me being able to do the work of a Caritas coach, to innovate programs, to help people to increase their resilience, to sustain themselves in the midst of challenges. Like that is like superpower. I love facilitating things like that. So then I'm going somewhere. So then when July hits, it's time for me to retire. I was like super excited. And so I retired, and all of the books, all of the content, all of the things that I thought I would be doing, I hit a point where I was literally stuck. It was as if I was still in prison. I still had shackles on, but I was free. And so I decided it's time for me to pause again. And so I paused. I went outside, started walking in nature. I call it my God walk. And that is where the revelation hit me. I had been experiencing soul pain in every layer of trauma and challenge and issue that I had dealt with within the system that I didn't deal with properly. It all came rising to the surface. Now, you may ask the question, well, why couldn't you deal with it while you were there? Guess why? Because I was too busy to deal with it. Many of you are so busy that you don't even pay attention to that still, quiet voice that's trying to tell you to do something. And I know that you know I'm right about that. I was too busy to listen. I was moving around, doing too much, working hard, working all the time, never able to really have that downtime like I really wanted to have. And so I was too busy to pay attention. And I'm a very optimistic and a very positive person. And so you're not going to see me dwelling in the dumps. You're not going to see that, because that drains your energy faster than anything else. So I'm optimistic. I'm a positive person. I know how to weather storms. I've been through a lot of different challenges in my life. So it's easy for me to navigate complex situations and disruptions. And so when you're strong like that, you tend to not pay attention to things that are like, okay, no, that's not really bothering me. I'm not going to allow that to bother me. And it doesn't bother you at the moment, but it's when you get quiet. See, when I got quiet, that's where I was able to actually see what was going on. So every layer of soul pain began to start surface and rise to the top. And I actually allowed it to happen because I was stuck. I couldn't create. And I'm extremely creative when I can get the opportunity to do that. And now here I am with all of this free time, after vacationing, after doing all of that, I still was not able to release what was coming from the inside of me. So that soul pain was like a block. And so I had to release the layers of it. shed the layers of all of the trauma that I had that was unresolved, that I did not even know was there really, because I handle things and I'm like, oh, well, it's good. I'm not going to let that affect me. So you have to get serious. You have to be aware about how you handle things. Just like I talk about in the book, When the Moment Chooses You. Do you respond or do you react? And my regular baseline is to respond. I don't emotionally jump on things when things start going south, when I get upset. I like to be reflective because I found that being reflective is an energy saver for me. And it allows me to be able to make clear decisions in the moment, even in the midst of challenges. And so the unseen weight, the soul pain was hidden, but in plain sight, honestly, because there was the irritation, there was the frustration, the signs were there. And what I noticed is that you can tend to confuse burnout with misalignment. I was literally misaligned for those several years. Now, the whisper of my heart was trying to tell me to do something different. So I knew to do something different, but I didn't know what it was exactly. Is it a new position? Is it something that I need to do within the organization? Is it something else that I'm supposed to be doing that my heart is calling me to? So I have a coach, is Coach Al Hollingsworth. And, many years ago, he has spoke these words to me, and I'll never forget it because it started coming back as I was dealing with all of the different things that I was working through when I retired. But he said, Charlene, you are trying to swim around in the swimming pool when God is calling you to the ocean, and he wants the ocean to pour back into the pool. And I was like, oh my God, this is like so true. See, I'm comfortable where I was. I mean, I was there for 23 years, basically on the same unit, just had elevated a few levels, but basically doing the same thing. So I was swimming around in the swimming pool. And nothing wrong with swimming around in the swimming pool. But when you know there's something more that you're supposed to be doing, that thing is going to bother you and irritate you and make you frustrated until you step into what it is that your heart is trying to get you to do. And so that is really what happened. Let's see here. What isn't revealed isn't healed. Just acknowledging something is there is a sacred step forward. I wanted to say that because what isn't revealed isn't healed. If it has not been revealed to you, then it isn't healed. And so that's why the quiet time is so critical when you're going through something. If you are listening to me right now and you are having some struggles, or whether it's you're stuck, whether you're feeling like you're not enough, whether you're feeling like, man, I'm just really exhausted from being in this situation, whether it's time for you to level up and expand, whether it's time for you to turn in the towel, whether it's time, whatever it is for you, you have to start listening to that little whisper in your soul, because your soul is speaking to you more than you know. Most of us turn a deaf ear to it and we don't listen to it because we love to be comfortable. We love our comfort zones because our comfort zones keep us safe. And that is exactly what will prolong you staying somewhere where it's really time for you to go. And so I talked about number one, the unseen weight of the soul pain. I didn't see it at first. I finally got quiet enough, which I think is step two, is the moment of stillness. Cause yourself to be still. I'm telling you, even in the midst of me saying, okay, I'm going to pause for 30 days. I'm not going to write. I'm not going to do anything. Do you know that Charlene tried to create busyness? Okay, I don't think you hear me there. You know how you are. You're trying to create busyness when it's time for you to pause and be still. And so this is so important. I had to, with intentionality, say, no, Charlene, you're not going to do that. You're not going to create busyness for yourself. You're going to be still. See, I always talk about this. So the inner coach had to begin to combat with the inner critic. See, that inner critic that values being seen, that values actually believing that value is in productivity, that inner critic that feels like, well, I'm not doing anything. So am I still important? Am I still worth anything? That inner critic is what I'm talking about. That is who I had to combat so that I can really understand where this soul pain was coming from. Just because you are still does not mean that you are not productive. There's many people that are running around, busy moving, but there's no life in the moments that they're spending. You see what I mean? So it's really important for you to determine for yourself what that is. Now, let me see the healing part. First of all, the takeaway number 2 I'm going to give you: stillness isn't weakness, it's soul work. The soul work is so important. You move from, I remember even when I started When the Moment Chooses You, I had to move from anger and frustration to action and impact. It's the same thing. I had to get quiet enough so that I could hear what my whisper was telling me to do. That really was trying to get me to step into something that I was destined to do from the beginning. Right? Okay, so number 3, healing begins the moment you say, I matter too. You matter. Your well-being matters. You taking assessment of where you are on the well-being meter. Are you truly taking care of yourself? Oh yeah, I go to the gym, but are you not cutting off when it's time for you to cut off? When you leave work, can you leave work at work and then have home at home? Have you been able to distinguish and to delineate time for you? I'm talking about you. Nope, not your partner, not your husband, not your wife, not your kids. I'm talking about you. Are you able to carve out at least 15 minutes for yourself? I teach at one of the universities, and it is a sad state to see that our nurses that are in school right now are burned out already. They are not taking care of themselves. So I'm using this opportunity in the university to reprioritize their well-being while they can. I told them it is so critically important for you to take care of yourself now. If you can only pause for 10 minutes just to check in with yourself, why don't you do that? So this is really concerning that we are cranking out students that are busy not taking care of themselves. You will not be able to sustain yourself if you're not taking care of yourself. So why not start now to start being okay with pausing, with even taking 5 minutes to take a walk outside, whatever it is that you need to do. So like I said, so let's go back. Let me go back and tell you, I kind of told you in story form, but my takeaway number 1 that I want you is that what isn't revealed isn't healed. Number 2, stillness isn't a weakness, it's soul work. And then number 3, healing begins the moment you say, I matter too. Stop taking care of everybody else and leaving you out. There's nothing wrong with you being a giver, a caregiver. It's nothing wrong with you pouring out your heart to other people. But when you do it at the expense of losing you, that is where you're going to run into some challenges. And so I want you to do this. I have a framework that I'm going to leave you with, and it's called the Soul Framework. I'm really getting into these frameworks. If you notice over my shoulder here is my banner. You can't see the whole thing, but it's my banner that I use at events, and it's the Wellness Whisper coaching and consulting company. And if you notice right here to my right shoulder is the Heart Framework. So the Heart Framework is a strategy that I use with any organizations that I will be working with. I am going through it with the Heart Framework because I feel like that one is more aligned with my core values of what I want to bring, where my superpower is, where my impact is. And it's heart, it's healing, it's engagement, it's authenticity, it's resilience, and then it's transformation. And I'll talk to you a little bit more. I did on the other video, but I'll tell you more when we work together. But here, I want you to do this framework for this particular video. And it's called Soul. S is for stillness. Create a space for silence and spiritual listening. I'm talking about deep, deep listening. Don't take your phone with you. You quiet all by yourself. And I know it is so difficult for us with the overstimulating technological world for us to not be overstimulated. But you're going to have to start taking some time just for you so that you can hear your inner whisper, the whisper of your heart, your soul trying to talk to you. So that was the S. The O is own it. Acknowledge what you're feeling without shame. I am so vulnerable about what I have been experiencing because I know one thing about it. When I share, I know that somebody else that just can't voice it is being touched, is being impacted. So own it. It's okay for you not to be okay. Like, it's okay. It's just not staying and taking up residence there. And so the U is to uncover. Let the buried pain surface with grace and compassion. I had to give myself compassion. I had to give myself grace. We are not perfect individuals, so we can give ourselves grace. Very important. If you need help with doing that, you need to reach out for help if it's something that you cannot do alone. And you will know that immediately. There's mental health resources out there. There's friends, there's families, there's coaches like myself that would be willing to sit with you while you work through it. So the U, uncover. And then L is to let go and love through it. Release, forgive, nurture, and then begin again. Release, forgive, nurture, and begin again. See, you are so important, but sometimes when we're not paying attention, our soul is suffering. My constant misalignment for those last several years was causing me to have like a little leak. I paint the picture of a heart with a little tiny hole under the bottom and just trickling a little bit of the blood, the essence out. And that's why my soul was restless and twisting and turning, wondering, okay, Charlene, there's something wrong. There's something wrong. And so when I was able to get the healing that I need once I early retired, took the quiet time to find out, okay, who is Charlene in this season? What am I supposed to be doing in this season? What is it that I'm supposed to contribute to humanity right now? You know, you can begin to start asking those types of questions. So thank you so much for being with me. And like I said, I will be on the Whispers of Wellness. This is my new show. Please share it with someone that you know that really needs to hear this. I will be doing classes soon. I'm probably going to do one major class this year, and I will make sure you know what that is. But in the meantime, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also, my new book, When the Moment Chooses You, is out in living color. It came out last month, and I'm so excited. I'm getting so many testimonials. If you are an organization or an individual and you need some inspiration, I believe that book, From Silence to Strength, A Nurse Leader's Journey, will make a difference in your life. I have already had organizations reaching out, purchasing bulk orders. So that is available. Reach out to me at info@wellnesswhisperconsulting.com. That would be a wonderful nurses gift for Nurses Week. I'm just telling you, I'm just hearing so much feedback. And it actually is feedback from people that are beyond nursing. I mean, these are people that work in different industries. So I am so thrilled and so excited about the impact that particular book is making. There are reflective questions at the end of every chapter that you will have an opportunity to sit down and to unpack so that you can see what moment is actually choosing you. So thank you for listening. Check out my website, www.wellnesswhisperconsulting.com. And if you want me to come to your organization, let me know. Just email me at the content below, and we can set up a consultation and then move from there. But until then, know that wellness and reprioritizing your well-being is an inside job. And I'm ready to be your sister on the journey to help you with reprioritizing your well-being from the inside out. Have a wonderful day.